Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis, and today we're going to be talking about the entire crypto market. So sit back, relax, and before we fully jump on into this video, I do just want to ask guys, please leave a like on this video. It does help the channel grow immensely, and of course, I always do greatly appreciate it. Now, with all of that in mind, today we're going to be talking about the macro and even the micro view of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the entire market. I'm going to be addressing XRP, XLM, QNT, and even Hbar as usual. And of course, there's going to be other talks in this video as well. So let's just kind of jump in. Let's talk about a few things. So obviously, the major indices today still kind of sitting around this, stable point. Of course, these are not closed. These are still, obviously open. You guys can see these trading live right now if you do want to go check it out. This video is going to be uploaded a little bit later, so there could be a lot different prices going on right now in the market currently. I will say this: the Dow Jones looks pretty good from the RSI standpoint. Looks like we are having a little bit of a slight correction, nothing too crazy off of that major impulse yesterday. Looks like we are sort of testing that support zone going back as far as February 14th, as you guys do see. It's also a little bit of a demand zone for the most part, but we still need a lot more strength here on, of course, the Dow Jones. I will say currently, when we are talking about the structure that we are in, so we can actually address this real quick on the chart. So right now we are in between a point of resistance and support. Obviously, we are eyeing that 618 up there at about 35,168. I will, watch this chart, mostly over the, next couple days, but overall, I'm not expecting any sort of major change here yet for the Dow Jones, as we are still looking at the economical standpoint. But I will say this: the moment of truth for the Dow Jones, in my opinion, is around the 1.618 and the 2.618 level. That's between that 40,000 and that 45,000 area, and this actually is just 44.5k. But I do believe between here is the topping point for the Dow Jones. I think that we will see a major stock market crash around that point, but I've always addressed this and I've always talked about it on this channel, even in terms of like XRP and stuff like that. So, economically, things don't look too bad on the weekly chart, so we could actually kind of get rid of this fib level. We could actually kind of go all the way back to, of course, the March of 2020 dropping point, which was around this point, and kind of go off of the macro view on, of course, the Dow, and really kind of address where we currently are on the economical standpoint. So we're still finding a lot of support around that 786 level, and this is actually a little bit off. Let me make sure that we are on this perfectly. So there you guys have it. So you can see the support that we tested on, of course, the 786 on the fib level. Now, of course, this will still bring us to around that range of between that 36.9k to about 48.4k level. This is the area where I do get a little bit cautious on, of course, the Dow Jones, but you can still see where we are. I mean, this is still a fairly good chart. Still looks very strong. Dow looks very good on the weekly chart. On the daily chart, though, again, we are still testing support, and things still look pretty good on the Dow. Even with everything happening economically, still things look pretty good. Now, even within the Dow Jones, even within indices, I am still not seeing major price action movement on Bitcoin. And technically speaking, I know a lot of individuals say, "Hey, is the topping point in for Bitcoin yet?" In my opinion, I don't believe that the top is in for Bitcoin. I also don't think that the top is in at all for the entire crypto market. I think that we have an incredible year ahead of us. What I am watching, though, isn't so much Bitcoin. I do believe that we will test this, pattern down here, this low pattern, which is at about like 39.6k. Watch for that level to be targeted, because I think that that's going to be our higher low that we put into play. And then from there, we do break over 44k and go on a little bit of a run. But what I am watching is the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. As you guys do see here, it is breaking out, and the next major target point is that 382 level. Now, while we are watching this, I will say this. Let's go check out Ethereum. So I actually had the chart open yesterday where I was addressing the viewpoints here of course, Ethereum, and it finally broke over that 0.236 level, which was at about $2,800. This is very bullish. We are seeing a nice price move here. Next target point of resistance would be at about almost $3,000, but I do believe that we target this 382 at about $3,200, almost $3,300. So I really do believe that when we are talking about Ethereum, I think Ethereum could lead the market a little bit here, while Bitcoin kind of stirs up a little bit of some nice price action movement sideways. But overall, we're seeing a lot of, updates throughout the market. We are seeing the EU regulators are saying, hey, be prepared to lose all your money in crypto. Stuff like this always makes me very bullish, because similar to all of the things that we've seen in the past with like China and stuff like that, with a lot of the FUD, it always leads to, of course, the opposite. So this, in my opinion, when we're talking about regulators and things like that moving into the space, I really don't think that this is anything to call for concern. But, obviously people do play into a lot of this kind of stuff, but this I don't think affects the market at all. But I just thought it was funny to include this. But we also see here, just in, 8 U.S. congressmen sent SEC Chair Gensler a bipartisan letter regarding the SEC's Bitcoin and crypto reporting request, citing its stifling innovation. It's also very good because in terms of regulators and stuff like that, regulatory clarity is the next major, stepping stone for, crypto. And I do think that when we're talking about these congressmen that are pro-crypto, pro-adoption of crypto as well, I think that this is fighting the good fight. And this will also lead to, major industries sort of being disrupted by crypto technology and a lot of major players stepping into crypto, as we do see regulatory clarity coming to this space. Now, also, we do see here 5 years out, if Bitcoin is not at $500,000, then I'm wrong on the adoption cycle, said Novgratz. Now, when we are talking about $500,000 for Bitcoin, do I think that this is going to happen? Eventually, yes. Honestly, I have this macro chart open over here from TechDev. We're going to be addressing that here shortly, but I really do want you guys to realize that when we are looking at the macro view here for altcoins, for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, for this entire market, we are so early in the infancy stages of crypto, especially even from an adoption standpoint, but even from a price to market cap valuation standpoint as well. And I really do want you all to realize that, especially when you are looking at generational wealth. We also see here at the time of writing, in terms of 7-day sales volume, the aggregate NFT sales volume increased by 17.86% this week to $457 million. Honestly, a lot of these markets within this, or industries within this market, are on the uptrend. I mean, check out the NFT market. Look at all the green across the board on a lot of these altcoins. Guys, check out the 24-hour. I mean, there's some that are up 16%, 13%, 10%. These are some interesting assets. Even, the Sandbox up almost 10%. So, and major, institutional players are also moving in on NFTs. We even seen HSBC moving in on, of course, you already know, the Sandbox. So pay attention to what is happening within this industry right now. A lot of exciting, a lot of bullish news is happening around this market as well. So guys, I am excited for the macro view, and check out the macro view. So shout out to TechDev for this, but we do see Bitcoin at 2010 to 2013, 1 week versus 2016 to now 3 week. Similar HTF structure, wave degrees, wave timings, and bars, different having, positions, macro wave positions, 1 versus 3, and then wave timings in days. So obviously, let's open this up in a new tab so that you guys can see it. I think, yeah, so this is just one image. All right, so here you guys have it. Here's 2010 to 2013. So we do see, it's actually a little bit harder to actually see it on that screen. So let me actually open it here. So here's wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, with, of course, a few differences in between the halving cycles compared to 2016 to now. But you do see, of course, the similar structure being printed here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Technically, this is the start of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave as well. You guys do see that difference here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and of course 5 up here. Well, 5 here, sorry, and then this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which brought us to about roughly almost $1,400. If we're following this structure over here, here's the 5th wave, followed by, of course, the macro 3rd wave. This would bring us to about $160 or $160,000. And then a retracement from here would bring us to around roughly, between $40,000 to $80,000 before we do, of course, reach the inevitable almost $500,000 range from what Novogratz did say. Overall, the structure is still holding strong on the macro. Like, the macro view on Bitcoin is absolutely parabolic, and it should make you so bullish, especially even if you are holding altcoins. But this also shows you why, buying Bitcoin on the bear market lows is something very crucial, especially for the success of, becoming extremely rich. But even in terms of, Bitcoin, right? Like when you're looking at Bitcoin, you could fluctuate the profit taking off of Bitcoin, invest it into alts during the alt run, and make a ton of money. That way you could accommodate and hold a ton of Bitcoin. And that's when you really kind of short Bitcoin and make so much money off of just shorting. And you really could sustain your wealth that way as well. It's a little bit riskier than, traditional hodling, but, it does have its benefits. But even in general, like when we're looking at the macro view here, I mean, things look very good, especially comparing it to altcoins. Most altcoins right now are holding, the line. They're, just kind of trading sideways in a nice sideways momentum. I know that this is extremely, annoying. It's frustrating for some people that don't have, patience. But I want you all to realize that this happened even going back to 2017, 2018. I mean, I don't need to tell you guys that. I mean, I'm sure that a lot of you, who were there during that time also know this. I mean, here is, that's 2020. Sorry. Here you guys have it. So this traded in a sideways pattern for 208 days. This is XRP, by the way. So off of this nice impulse that we have back here, this is way more than 208 days off of this impulse. But technically, we're going off of this impulse here. And, 208 days, from that range would take us far into, of course, the future. I mean, we're talking about like, past July. This would repeat that cycle all over again. Here's 208 days. This is September 5th, 2022. Is it, that, weird to say, hey, is our altcoin run going to happen around this point? I mean, technically, no. I mean, I've been talking to you guys about, the fall to winter time frame for, of course, the alt runs for a while now. And this technically would play perfectly into repeating that cycle from 2017, 2018. I know that a lot of people are saying, hey, this year's different, this bull run's different, but technically it's really not. I mean, we're still in that ranging formation. It's just an extended bull run, which if you look back on time, it's always been extended. I don't know if TechDev actually has that here. He doesn't, but I do know a lot of analysts are, looking at it and saying, hey, we are still in, a similar bull run. It's just extended, which Credible Crypto is pretty good on this. I do believe Blockchain Backer himself also is saying something similar in that area. But a lot of these altcoins are doing very similar runs. Comparing it to 2017, 2018, and I do believe that Coinbase actually has the most price data on XLM. So yeah, I mean, you guys can obviously see the pattern playing out. This has that same pattern as XRP. Because of course these do run almost identically together. So the date range, of course, from that impulse wave to the day of breakout, it was about 187 days, a little bit less than XRP. But you guys can, I mean, it's like around like 188, 189 days technically, but you can see the impulse waves on a few of these assets, and you can really kind of see what happens when they do have those nice impulses. I don't believe that XLM has had that major impulse just yet, but we can go off of this, high that we set back in November, realistically speaking, and kind of go from there. So this would actually bring us to around, the May timeframe, which is, I would say it's a little bit harder to justify comparing it to like XRP. XRP actually has that nice impulse. XLM doesn't really have an impulse just yet. So, realistically speaking, would we be, waiting for an impulse, a little bit later than sooner? It wouldn't be, it wouldn't be too unrealistic, especially when you're looking at like XLM going back to like May. That's when that major impulse happened back in May. XRP during that time frame, let me go back in time. We can kind of see when that happened. So it was still around that May 17th area. XLM really hasn't had, this happened later than May 17th for XLM. So, I would say maybe around roughly the end of this month, we should have an impulse on XLM to bring us around that 25-cent zone. If we go off of the 25-cent zone, that would be that impulse from here, which again, if we have like 188 days, yet again, repeat it, that would still bring us to around like the August timeframe, which I want to say wouldn't be too bad considering the fact that I believe that, we had 208 days in 2017, followed by 208 days here, which would bring us to around September 5th. On XLM, this is 188 days, 188 days back here as well. This would bring us to around roughly August 16th. XLM topped out a little bit sooner than Bitcoin or XRP. Can't even talk right now. So let's actually zoom in real quick and see where the topping point was. This was January 4th. I do believe that XRP was January 6th. So it was only by around 2 days. So, realistically speaking, or sorry, that's April that we're going off of this year, sorry. Here's like January roughly 8th when we hit the topping point. So realistically speaking, would we be pushing XRP a little bit further ahead for XLM, like later than sooner in terms of its bull run? It's hard to say. I mean, realistically speaking, when we're talking about a lot of these altcoins and when we're talking about where they could lead to, I do believe that August, September to like the October, November timeframe, similar to 2017, is something where we would be watching. But it's hard to go off of these impulses because, XLM's impulse really isn't that strong, to say the least. That's why I'm saying, like, if we do have, let's say we just kind of repeat that cycle and it's 2 days, right? This is 206 days. If we go off of the 188 days, we would technically be going off of this just sideways momentum. So I don't believe that that would be the case. I honestly think that when we're talking about these major impulses, I still don't think that we've had that impulse yet. That's why I'm watching these altcoins closely because, I would say that we could technically push these into, the October month. So I'm watching for an impulse along the board on a lot of these altcoins. Even watching QNT and Hbar kind of just trade sideways. Some of these are in a downward trend. Really is kind of pushing my focus to, Ethereum possibly leading the market right now, but also even waiting for Bitcoin's major breakout event because I don't believe that altcoins had their major run yet. And I don't even think that XRP and XLM hit their major impulse wave to trade sideways. I still think that we have a long ways to go until these do top out. QNT and Hbar, on the other hand, are still in this downward trade momentum on a sideways sort of downtrend. You guys can obviously see that on Hbar and even QNT, but I think that a breakout along the board is going to come from, a major impulse on Bitcoin to bring some alts with it, or possibly even Ethereum. We have to watch, of course, markets closely. The dollar still looks pretty weak. Indices still looking pretty good. Let me refresh this real quick. So there you guys have it. I mean, these are trading sideways as well. I mean, we have a few changes here and there throughout the day, but for the most part, everything's kind of stuck in limbo, and I would say that crypto is also stuck in limbo with a few exceptions along the board in terms of some altcoins. If you go to like, the actual page and you go to 24-hour time frame, there's a few that are up, massively. Ignore an ape coin a little bit because that's still a new coin, but there's still some altcoins that are up pretty good, but most of them are just kind of trading sideways. So I would say the next major impulse would be coming very, very soon. I would say like when we're talking about, the dollar and stablecoin dominance, a lot of these are still in a nice bearish pattern, which is very bullish for crypto and stocks in general. But I would say that crypto markets right now are sort of at a major reset level. Looking forward to seeing a major impulse throughout this year and going on that bull run similar to what we did in 2021. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, up to you all. Have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.